Here's one thing I really was kind of curious about. This is coming out now 15 years after the first Angels album. And
Hey, don't fucking throw those numbers at me, god damn it.
look, it makes me
I'm
look old
trying.
too. I mean, come on, let's take
That
it
is
further.
true. You know what? I love that. Every time someone tells me that, like, a huge number, I'm going, well, you're fucking older too,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
damn
Not
right.
just me.
Damn right. We're in this together now. This is it. We're
Yeah, we're
both
in
in
this
it.
together.
Hey guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. It's the latest of our video calls. We've been chatting to everybody while we're still kind of stuck at home at the minute, and I'm delighted to say from Angels Airwaves, Mr. Tom DeLonge is on the line right now. How are you, Tom?
Well, I'm well. How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Surviving as ever, as I always like to say. Obviously, we caught up with you a little bit last year. You know, things have moved along a little bit. Feels like things are opening up and hopefully starting to get a little bit better. I hope everything's still all well where you are.
Everything's good. Things are open. We're hearing about the virus, obviously, like everyone else is, but I think everyone's kind of saying, like, fuck, we're not going to shut everything down ever again. Like, that was so bad. Our country almost basically imploded. So I think we're going to learn from that lesson, So yeah, so it's still out there, but we're all just trying to get by. Things are improving, so we're good.
Positive thoughts, man. Positive thoughts. Hopefully we'll get out of this all very soon. And in the meantime, nice to see you guys have been able to be keeping working on new music. The album is kind of imminent at the time that we're talking here. Lifeforms is the record. I always like to start with some album titles, man. Like, I know it's a cliche question, but I'm genuinely fascinated why people pick these phrases that they think sums up an era, sums up a moment for a band. Let's start there. Lifeforms. Why that? Why this moment?
Well, when I started Angels and Airwaves, if anybody followed kind of the genesis of that project, or this project, it was an art project. It wasn't a band, but the band was kind of like the first piece of it. And then there's like films and books, all these things we wanted to do. The idea was, I can't obviously do Blink again. I mean, that was like lightning in a bottle. So I want what's something else that's ambitious and challenging for me as an artist, because that's kind of what I'm always at. Like, what should I not be doing, and how do I learn how to do it well? So what we want to do is like kind of take these big themes and then do less music, but like when we do it's associated in a transmedia way with other mediums, so all these things can hit people in different ways, but really be teaching the common message. And consciousness is like a very big important piece of the UFO phenomenon. It's a huge piece to who we are as human beings. And I'm saying this because I know shit that you don't know. And so I'm just saying, like, it's an important thing. And so this first movie, Monsters of California, with the album Lifeforms, the reason we call it Lifeforms is because we like to life forms, we got dogs and bears and like wildcats, and we got fucking ducks, and we got us. But, so we look laterally and we act laterally, like, okay, there's that person, and my interaction with that person, or my interaction with this animal. I love my dog. I had to put my dog down. Like, but everything else we kind of say is paranormal. Everything else we say it's so esoteric, or you got to be agnostic about it because people say this shit, but it can't be real, right? But the reality is it's all real. And so it's because we don't understand what reality is. And we started understanding that more when we started realizing and grappling with the UFO phenomenon. So Lifeforms, the title, is the beginning is like, songs and things just about like, our interactions with each other, like I was saying. But the movie as a companion piece takes that a step further, where it's got those coming of age things, but intermixed with a profound wonder about the world around us, and then learning a bit about what it is. And that to me encompasses the whole project of, it's not only about you and I. What if there's other life forms out there that have been tagging along and pushing us into places we wouldn't naturally have landed without that influence? And then you got to look at where we landed, and the earth is a fucking mess. And you got to wonder why, so we have a lot to unpack here, so that's kind of what this first of many things that I'm doing, all the movies and everything. This is like step one. You got to notice the weird shit because it's real.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. Like, I always admire your ambition, man, and I always just love to see, like, whenever there's any band or any musician who wants to expand their art across multiple kind of media forms and everything, it just really adds to a full package like that. And I remember last time we had a conversation, you were kind of putting it was around one of the singles, I think, and you were just kind of putting some finishing touches at the time on the record and stuff. And you said you thought at the time that it could end up being the best record you'd ever written. That's what you kind of thought. That's how you were feeling in that moment. I wonder now that you have tied it together with these other projects and we have the finished product there. Did it match your own expectation there? What are you thinking at this moment?
It did. It's interesting. Like, I think anybody that's listened to the music I've created over my career, I mean, I think it was always fair to say, like, when I'm doing an album, like, this is the fucking craziest thing. This is so good. Like, I'm all in the moment, I'm, oh my God. But I think that I've done a pretty good job at improving as I go. I'm never going to be like John Lennon or some shit. I will be Paul McCartney, but not, no, I'm just joking. I have no idea. But, but no, but for real, like, you have like these incredible songwriters out there, like Robert Smith to me is like one of the best songwriters ever. And obviously the Lennons and the McCartneys of the world and the Bowies and all this shit. And Roger Waters. I mean, I look at these guys and go, fuck, if I had a deeper musical knowledge, I would be able to aspire to write a song like Comfortably Numb or something, like, from Pink Floyd, but so I don't think that like I'm some genius by any means, but I do think that like I've progressed. And I think like if you listen to the Lifeforms album, what you're going to hear is me unapologetically touring all the music that I've loved my whole life. I mean, there's like a Depeche Mode song, there's like a New Order song, there's like a fucking post-hardcore Boxcar Racer song, like there's like punk rock kind of fucking song, it's like it's all there. And I'm really proud of that. It's hard to do that. It's really hard to do that. Like, how many times, there's not many bands that do. Like Blur is a band and very rare that can do that, or it's so diverse. You're like, what the fuck, But there's not. I mean, U2 does it to a degree. They do it for. They always have done it, to be honest. But like most are like AC/DC. Like, you kind of stick to that one path. And even if you do it really fucking well, like they do, which is makes them the best rock band like ever, but they still kind of just do their thing. So I don't know. I'm trying really hard to, but I'm also trying hard to like call out bands that were fucking cool. Like, all this shit's like new wave is cool, right? New wave, yeah. And they're like, aha, like some like that band aha, that's Take On Me. That's a great fucking song, but I don't know if they were cool. I don't know. Like, like did they have any kind of like trauma in their life? Did they fucking fist fights a bunch? Were they skateboarders too? I don't know. I was a skateboarder, so we kind of have I have a high bar of, what's cool. And so for me, it's like the bands I grew up, I genuinely think they're fucking cool. Like New Order, Joy Division, The Cure, and Depeche Mode, moving into all the punk rock shit from the 80s and forward. Like, I like things with edge. I like things that where they have a reason to be telling you their point of view. I like things that like make you want to break something, even if it's like a song about falling in love, So I think this record is the purest reflection of my travels musically, things that I've done and things that I've been into.
Yeah, it's so interesting to hear you kind of mention these other artists and stuff, not just the ones you admire, but when you're saying at the top there about like, oh, I'm no Paul McCartney, and I know no one's going to compare themselves to the greats in inverted commas, but you've got to know that there's songs that you've written that have it's about connection, isn't it? The reason we validate the Beatles, or at the time of recording, ABBA have just come back, all these kind of bands from the past, the reason people have those connections is because they've grown up with them in their own lives and they have those own moments with them. You must be aware that there's so much of your own music that, particularly for my generation, really has connected in that way too. You must be aware, surely.
It's funny, like, I'm aware when you say it out loud,
Right.
but when I'm at a restaurant and Blink's like All the Small Things comes on and I sound like I'm 4, I wonder how the fuck did people connect to this? But what they connected to is not the song. I mean, the song, people know it, got it, whatever. I think the people connected to the reality of what we were, which was the whole package was we all came from really disturbing, broken families. I got kicked out of high school and fucking there's domestic abuse. And then there was like fucking all the broken family shit and gangs and fucking Nazi skinheads fighting anti-Nazi skinheads, and us trying to navigate that, you know, and at least myself. And I think like people look at, so our escape was like really fast music because we're fucking pissed, but really funny and fucked up and offensive because we're like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you know, like, and that was, so the whole thing was like nursery rhymes on meth, because we just wanted to redo our childhood, you know, with a bit of rebellion and a bit of like, you're the painter. You're not like viewing what someone else is painting for you. You can paint your own fucking picture of life. And so I think people learn that about Blink, you know, because we were a punk band. I mean, like we were from the punk scene. Like there was no version where we're writing that music and being funny, you know, to sell records. We didn't think we were gonna fucking sell any records. We started a skateboard company because making it for real in music was not a fucking possibility. I mean, it's like, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, you know, so when you say like, yeah, you know, you connected, I go, fuck, not when I hear all the small things do I go, oh, I see how it's not like you hear like My Generation from the Who, and you're like, that probably fucking connected. That's fucking good, you know. But Blink had songs that were in that spirit. Didn't sound like that or whatever, but I wish those ones were the ones that were on the radio, you know, but I'm very thankful for everything we got, I guess.
Oh, sure, of course. I guess it's always going to be difficult when you're physically in it as well. You can't you're not ever going to be able to take yourself out of it and look at it a different way, a different perspective. But of course, from us, from further afield, all across your career, man, whether it's all the small things or there is, or everything's magic, anything like that. It kind of works, man. It's about connections with the audience. And speaking of that, here's one thing I really was kind of curious about. This is coming out now 15 years after the first Angels album. And
hey, don't fucking throw those numbers at me, god damn it.
Look, it makes me look old too. I mean, come on, let's take it.
That is true. You know what? I love that. Every time someone tells me that like a huge number, I'm going, well, you're fucking older too, motherfucker.
Damn right.
Not just me.
Damn right. We're in this together now. This is it.
We're in this together.
But I want to know, particularly, I guess, I mean, it's obvious what changes. You can always see musical evolution and all those kind of things. But what stayed the same for you in terms of the Angels project in particular? You know, you set out there, you achieved what you want to achieve with that first record. What remained the same about that spirit and making that record that you can still see in Lifeforms now?
Oh, the message. The entire message is about who do you think you really are? What do you want to be? And how do you become that and change the world by just being the authentic version of yourself? I mean, it's always been that. It's always been, you can literally do anything if you actually understood how the universe works and how do you put it to use. So, like you say you always wanted to, you go, I have this dream of owning my own little coffee shop, but I don't know where to start. And you think about it every day and you're looking at pictures every night on the internet and you tell your friends, I just always want my own little cafe, whatever. And then you like, say a few days later, you're standing in line to get a fucking hamburger somewhere. And the person behind you is telling their friend, oh, I just started roasting coffee beans. It's so cool. But like, I just don't even know where to sell it. And I don't even know what to do, but I'm making the best coffee on earth. Now you're standing there and you're like, oh God, I know what he feels. I want to fucking start my own coffee shop. No, I get it. Anyways, or do you stop and you turn around and say, holy shit, my name's so-and-so. I've always had this dream too. I would love to pick your brain about like where, oh my God. And then all of a sudden you never know. And now you guys are running a thing together, but that's a breadcrumb. And so if your intention is pure, you're going to have those. And it's the way consciousness works. And like, to give you an example, there's a true story. There's a woman, this is a few years ago, and I think it was in the East Coast, maybe New York or some shit. Like a woman and her husband were at a dinner party, and then the woman just gets this crazy sense of impending doom and says, we got to go, we got to go. And the husband's like, why the fuck we got to go? We just got here. Don't be rude. And she's like, we got to go. Something bad's going to happen. And he's like, God damn it. I just got my White Claw, puts his White Claw down. I don't know. I got a White Claw, whatever. And then they leave, and then they're driving. And then it's like middle of the night, and on an overpass or like a highway, like on the mountains, she screams and he's like, what the fuck? And she saw a dead body on the road. So he slams on the brakes and she's like, no, 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 keep going. This is all true story. Keep going, keep going. We don't know if someone's fucking trying to get us to stop and kill us or whatever. Let's go in town, tell the police. Okay, got it. So they drive into town, they tell the police, 2 police officers, will you take us out there? You can park, we'll leave and go find it and whatever. So they did, they let them out there and they parked like a block away. They're scared. The cops go up there, see the flashlights. After a few minutes, the cops come back. There's no body. She's like, I saw a body. I'm not lying. And we don't think you're lying, but there isn't one now. Look, we'll take a look later. We'll ask around. Cool, whatever. So they all leave. Those cops go back to the station. They're talking about it, and like 3 a.m, another cop shows up and he hears them. He's like, oh shit, I just heard someone else say something about that same road. They saw something like weird. And so that third cop goes, you know what, I'll go out there in the morning and might as well check because this is weird. And they're like, yeah, we didn't find anything. He's like, I'll go out in the morning. So the next morning comes, this dude goes out to the fucking place where the body was. He didn't find a body, but he looks over on the edge where the guardrail is and there's a fucking shoe, a toddler shoe. So when he walks over and picks up a real toddler shoe, he looks over the guardrail and there's an upside down car. In the car is a dead mom and with a toddler about to die. He runs down there and saves the kid's life. So something gave a woman the impending sense of doom to leave a party, drive 20, 30 minutes, see a dead body, get the cops to come back the next day, find in a different location a shoe that traced all the way down to the woman who was the dead body and the kid that owned the shoe. You know what I'm saying? That's consciousness. That's like the hardest thing to describe to people how it works. It's there and it's working all the time, but we usually don't even fucking know it and we miss the breadcrumbs. So it's important to me that the one thing that stays the same with Angels and Airwaves is that your life and your reality is literally anything could happen and you can make it happen. They did an experiment with a piece of paper with 2 slits. It's called the double slit experiment. They throw a photon, 1 photon at a time through one of the 2 slits. So basically you have this paper thing with 2 slits in it, and then they have a collecting device on the back of it. So they would throw a photon through one of the slits and it would catch on the back end and you would see it. And what they figured out was the photon only went through the slit that you were thinking about. So their brain was directing matter.
My God.
And they were like, wait. So if I think about the left one, and they did, the left one goes to the left one. So and this particle would land on the fucking thing in different ways where like if it would go up, it's like bop, 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 bop. It was a wave. Each time it landed, it traced a wave on the collecting device. It's a particle and a wave. It's a wave of probability. It's light. And you can turn it into anything you want. And your brain is the only thing capable of turning it into something. So once we learn this about consciousness and all this shit, it's going to be a fucking fantastic ride. You're welcome. I just taught you some shit.
Man, I mean, where the fuck do we go from here after that? I mean, that's an amazing thing. And it's what I admire about you and what I admire about your work. It's like I was saying about there's that basic musical connection, like I say, which you'll never fully be able to appreciate, but that's fine. But then these grander connections, these world building things and spreading of a message, that's something that you don't get every day, man. And I really respect it. And I got to say, I think it's going to carry over more and more when we see things like the live show. We talked a little bit before about those dates you managed to get before obviously the pandemic hit and the world changed a little bit, but you could see that connection just even from afar. Footage I've been able to watch from the States, you could see people back in that room, back in that space with you guys. And there was a moment and it felt really amazing even to just watch. You must be hyped to get back. And yeah, I guess, how are you feeling about actually putting together yet another live show and more moments like this?
Oh, I love it. Like, it's awesome. At this point, Angels is like the band I always wanted it to be, but I didn't really know how to do it as well. So I feel like we've really kind of figured out who we are. And that's why there's dick jokes back in the set. I'm kind of like the full version of me is there rather than just like the serious version. And so I think I'm very much comfortable in my own skin. You know, and that came after like a lot of the stuff I was doing behind the scenes that people were like making fun of it and get like, once it all started coming out, I was like, okay, now you understand I'm not crazy, you know. I mean, I'm kind of crazy, but like, in a good way, hopefully. And so now I get up there, I'm all, this is who I am. I'll make some stupid jokes. I'm going to hopefully inspire you. But when the songs start and with the bright lights, hopefully you'll lift off the ground a little bit. You know, that's the point.
Yeah, always the point, man. Always the point. Do you feel like you have a little bit of a renewed confidence around this one? It
Oh yeah,
definitely
yeah,
feels like
yeah,
you're in a really good
yeah,
headspace, man. It feels
yeah.
like really,
This,
really good.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what, if people like it or if it's gonna be big or what. I don't fucking know. I mean, I always thought Angels had all the potential in the world, but why would I do it if I thought any differently? So, um, but it doesn't mean that people will understand. It took 10 years for people to understand why I'm doing it this way. Like, you had fuck on fire on stage. Now you have this word love. Well, love means consciousness. It's two things coming together. It's the fact, like, when you fall in love with someone, you're like, God, I gotta have you. I want to devour you. I want to fuck your brains out. Whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's a love between two individuals, and you want to combine into one. And that's what love is. It's like protecting each other, protecting creation, meditating to one common unified mind. That's the source of the universe, consciousness, all this shit. And these aren't spiritual concepts I'm throwing out here. I'm literally talking to you about physics stuff, but that's a whole different conversation. And the government, certain places, knows about this kind of stuff. But so that's love. So when I put that up on a backdrop, or when it's like the name of my movie and whatever, it's intention. Like, you look at love, oh, we all like falling in love, I'm an asshole, but I do like falling in love. But so you have this good intent. No one's going to look at the word love and think something bad, but it's a bit esoteric. And once you learn more about the band and what we're trying to achieve, and what I'm trying to achieve and doing, whatever, it's not about love, like, oh, fall in love with a girl. It's about, like, literally, that is the easiest word to describe where all of our individual frequencies come from, which is your own radio, like, signal tuned, and we're all tuned to the same radio station. And that's what makes us special. And then this is what bleeds into the whole UFO phenomenon. That's super important, but that's a different conversation.
Well, I hope to have that conversation at some point, man, because it's always fascinating to talk to you, dude. It really, really is. Congrats on the new record. I cannot wait
Thank
for you
you.
guys to get over here and play those UK shows next
We're
week,
coming.
man. Oh,
We're
finally
coming.
coming. So excited, man. It's going to be great to hear these songs live again. And in the meantime, just take care of yourself out there, man. We look forward to chatting with you again soon, all right?
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, good to see you, man. Talk, everybody.